Okay, so before we actually get into creating a walk, I just want to talk generally about how this CMS is laid out. So there's three columns that you see here that are basically going to be the same across all of the different screens that you'll be working on. Uh, this left column here has various sections and is where you'll see all of the events on your walk. There's just two here. You can kind of click through to preview them. Essentially, it's just where you'll be selecting things to work on. This middle column here is where you'll be doing most of your editing, making changes to details, adding audio, and so on. And we'll get into all of that a bit later. And the third column here is essentially just a preview column. So it's roughly what the events or other screens will look like on the user's phone. Above all of these columns, we have this visual timeline, which we'll use a bit more when we start creating events. But when we do, you'll be able to actually click on the events and see them, and you'll be able to see how far one event is from another, and so on. And then finally up top, we have these two sections. You're in the walk sections right now, but there's also this image library section. And that's where when you do start uploading images, you'll see them appear. You can adjust their properties and add credits and so on. But that, in a nutshell, is the layout of the CMS. Okay, so we can go ahead and start talking about this walk setup screen. This is where you kind of put in big picture properties and parameters for the walk. So things like the walk title, description down here, an image, but also what units the walk is in and what the starting and ending points will be. So where the first event is, where the last event is. And all this will show up on this kind of preview screen that the user will see when they are choosing walks. We can go ahead and start working through this walk setup screen. And the best way to do that is to just start creating a walk. And so I'll just create the planets, which you've already walked and are somewhat familiar with. So the first thing I want to do is just give the walk a title. So I'll just give it a title called the planets. Now this next field here is units. And there's a couple of choices here. There's a few choices for time units and a few choices for distance units. And then this enter your own option, which just allows you to put in units that we haven't considered. So like you have nanometers or whatever, micrometers. Really, this actually doesn't make too much of a difference. It's just convenience in terms of what's displayed here on the CMS and in the app. The only time that it will make a difference is if you choose historical dates here, if you're creating a historical timeline. So if you do that, then you'll get this nice calendar interface where you can actually choose a year and a date. But we can cover that later. For now, I know that this walk is going to be in kilometers because we are going to be measuring 4.5 billion kilometers from the sun to Neptune. So up to kilometers. And I'll go ahead and say the first event is going to be at 0 kilometers. And the very last event, Neptune, I know is going to be 4.5 billion kilometers. So now you can already see here the distance has been updated on the preview, and this each step calculation has been updated as well. And actually, if you go over to your phone now and press update, it'll download, and this walk should already show up in this draft section that we have here. So here it is, the planet's distance 4.5 billion kilometers, and each step is 1.69 billion years. Okay, so now we can set the image for the walk. This is the image that people are going to see when they're browsing the walk in this choose walk screen. There's a couple different ways to do this. One is to choose an image that you've already uploaded to the image library. So to do that, you would just press choose from library, and this interface would open up. Now, we obviously haven't uploaded any images yet, and so this is going to be blank right now. So I'm just going to close that. And the second way is to just upload an image from your computer. There's two ways to do that. First is just to click here on upload a file. If I do that, it will open up this Finder window, and I can browse and choose an image that I've selected and downloaded. I'm not going to do that right now. The other way to upload a file is to just drag an image from the Finder right onto this area here. And that might be an easier way of doing it. So I'm going to do that. If I open up this folder, I've got a couple of images here that I liked that I saved. This is a solar system image that I might want to use. So I'm just going to take that and then drag it over here. I let it go. Now, as soon as I let it go, you'll see this crop image interface come up. This comes up because every walk image is supposed to be a specifically sized rectangle. These are the dimensions 310 by 230. But you don't have to worry about modifying or playing with the images before you upload them, because this interface will basically let you size that rectangle to the appropriate dimensions. So I'm just going to center the image here, press crop, and then there's my walk image. I have a bunch of options now to edit details, the file name, the description, add some image credits. If I got it from Wikipedia, I could add those here. The one thing I am going to change here is just the file name, because it's so long and unwieldy. You want to pick, I'm just going to change it, Solar System Walk. You want to choose a file name that's pretty easy to search, because this will be uploaded to the image library. And if you want to find it later, it's going to be a lot easier to have a kind of readable file name. Okay, so I'm just going to press upload this file. And there it is. And then again, if I go over to my phone and press update, that also should flow right through. And there it is. So that is uploading an image. Okay, so now that I've uploaded my walk image, I'm just going to finish off this walk setup section. I've got a description down here. I've got one already prepared, so I'll just paste that in. Walk category. This would normally affect which of these categories the walk shows up in, but all of your walks are going to show up here in this draft section, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. Walk range. Now this lets you set the minimum kilometer distance that the walk is going to be for the user. Typically, if you don't have very many notifications, it's okay to set a low number for the minimum walk distance. But for a walk like Life on Earth, for instance, that has 150 notifications, they're all just going to be really, really compressed here. So you'd want to change this minimum distance to something else. Here in the planets, I know that I'm only going to have about 11 or 12 notifications, so 1 kilometer is fine. And I can change this to, let's say, 20 if I want it, or maybe 22 if I want people to be able to run half marathons with this. The final field here is recommended distance. This is what shows up here as a default when the user is selecting a walk. So you can see they're kind of different for the planets. I have 2. For Life on Earth, I have 4. This is the kind of ideal distance. Once you've walked it a couple times and the pace of notifications and the number of notifications works at a certain distance, that's the number that you would put in here. So I'm just going to leave that at 2. And there you go. So I'll just run another update here to just show you that it's all coming through. Loading. And there it is. So this is my walk setup screen complete. I've got this default distance of 2. I've got the walk range. Right now, I've only got 2 events, so the number of notifications is going to show up at 2, and everything else that we did previously is still there. Okay.